Well, welcome to Ace in the Hole Live. Today we are going to be talking about not playing your life on tilt. And that means not playing from negative emotions. Now, Ace in the Hole Live is about law of attraction mixed with poker, health, wealth, and relationships. And let's get right into this. So the term is when you're playing poker, it is playing on tilt. Playing on tilt just means that you're playing based on negative emotions. And what typically happens when you're playing on tilt is you lose a lot of money. And there's a lot of reasons for this. You miss out on opportunities, you don't stick to your strategy. But this applies to so many things in life, and it's super important that you understand what this all means. So when we are in negative emotion, let's just talk about law of attraction stuff, right? Law of attraction is really like attracts like. So if you're feeling negative emotions, you're going to be attracting negative emotions. You're going to be attracting things into your experience in the moment that feel like the emotions that you're having right now. So it's going to get you into some trouble. So I'm going to talk about, I'm a film scorer, and let me introduce myself just a little bit right now. I am the owner of the Salt Lake Pops Orchestra. I have done a lot of film scoring. I'm kind of a creative guy, and I own a marketing company with my brother, and I own the Ace in the Hole reality show where we help small business owners really massively scale their businesses with the help of these world-changing coaches. These guys are the tops in their field. And in the show, when they're playing poker, you can tell when someone's on tilt. You can absolutely tell. So in a minute, we're going to talk about the 4 steps that you're going to need to get out of playing on tilt, because it's actually not an easy thing to do, whether it's in poker or really other areas of your life. But let me talk about, there was one time I was writing a film score for a big movie. And typically when you write a score for a movie, you're kind of married to the score for 3 months about. And I was kind of living in my studio, and I was doing everything I could to finish this score on time. And by the way, film scores are the last person to get the film, and everybody expects them to get it on time, but it's a ridiculously short amount of time. So you're writing 2.5 hours worth of orchestral music, and they expect you to do it in 2 or 3 months, and it's crazy. So I was in the middle of this, getting toward the end, toward the finish line. The deadline was coming up, and my computer popped up, "Hey, do you want to update Windows?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Maybe it'll run faster for me." Yeah, we all know now it's a horrible idea, but this was years ago when they didn't have this reputation. So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's upgrade it." And I upgraded it, and nothing worked. Nothing. None of the drivers were working or anything. I was like, oh no. Oh crap. What am I going to do? And I started panicking. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go back to the old version. So let's try that. And I tried all these things, and I was in a panic. For 3 days, I did not sleep. It was horrific. It was honestly my worst nightmare, because I'm trying to finish this thing, and it has to be done on time, and nothing is working. And it was a nightmare. And at the end of the 3rd day, I couldn't not sleep anymore. I was like, screw it. If I don't get it on time, I don't care anymore. I've tried everything I can think of. And I went to sleep. I think I went to sleep in the middle of the day, and I woke up probably in the middle of the night. And I had this idea. I had a futon there at the office because I'd sleep there sometimes. And I had an idea. I thought, why don't I try that? And I tried it, and immediately, it worked. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this happens. And in fact, there's another story. We could probably all tell stories like this, right? It took us 7 years to have our first son. And it took us so long. We were trying everything under the sun to get pregnant. We were everything. We did experimental things and pills and placebo studies and shots and surgeries and all kinds of things. Nothing was working. And after 7 years, we were like, you know what? Screw it. let's just go on vacation. Let's forget about it, because we were worrying about it every day, all the time. We were planning on it all the time. And eventually, so we just decided to go on vacation. And immediately when we said, screw it, we're going on vacation, we got pregnant. Isn't life like that, though? When you let go of that resistance, everything works. It's really crazy how that happens. So let's go through these 4 steps. When you're in this massive resistance, when you're on tilt, whether it's at the poker table or somewhere else in life, the first thing you have to do is find a way to step away. Separate yourself from it, because, as Einstein would have put it, the vibration of a problem and the vibration of a solution are completely separate. So you have to find a way to separate yourself from the problem so that you can allow the idea of the solution to come to you, because it won't come to you when you're in the problem. It can't come to you when you're asking the question, when you're saying, I want this thing. So separate yourself. So at the poker table, you can separate yourself from the table if you want to, and that's fine. You could actually stay at the table, and there are breathing techniques that you can use. So one breathing technique that is actually specifically for anxiety that I learned from a friend, all you really do is you start breathing slower and deeper, 4 counts in and 4 counts out. So you go, and you just keep doing this. And I would suggest, as you do it, you just focus on the idea of your breath until maybe some of the negative emotion goes away. You could even think things like the word relief. The word relief helps me a lot, fairly frequently. So I will repeat in my head the word relief, relief, relief. And for some reason, that just really, really helps me out. So step 1, step away. Find a way to separate yourself. Step 2, you got to take, you have to be able to gather your thoughts. So after you've taken a step away, after you've breathed a little bit, it's now time to just refocus a little bit, but you have to refocus in a new way. Find a new perspective about what's going on. Okay, great. So I've lost a bunch of chips. That's okay. I still have chips. That's really good. I'm still in this thing. I can do something with this. I'm in a new place. I'm feeling better. I'm not feeling so negative. So again, you just gather your thoughts and create a new perspective. That's number 2. Number 3, you have to go general. So whatever you're thinking, find a way to think of the bigger picture. So I'm in this room with these guys. You know what? These are friends, or maybe they're not friends. Maybe you don't know them. And you think, it's kind of fun to be with these incredibly interesting strangers who are doing really well, and maybe I can learn from them. That's really cool. And you think about maybe, hey, it's really cool that I'm here in my life, that I can do this kind of thing, that I'm playing these things, that I'm just having so much fun in my life. And maybe even back up even further, and you say things like, hey, you know what? I woke up okay this morning. I slept last night, and my heart continued to pump, and my lungs continued to breathe. That's a really big deal. So the more negative you feel, really, the further you have to back up, and you get more general. And you kind of feel, the more specific you get in a negative emotion, the worse things are going to feel. So you have to back up. And here's kind of something you have to understand, is that when you're in negative emotion, it is creating movement and momentum. That momentum, it's like a train. If you're creating a lot of momentum one direction in a negative way, you can't just reverse the train and go the opposite direction and feel happy and light and fun. You got to slow the train down first. So these are techniques to slow the train down. That's why you breathe. That's why you get your bearings. It's why you kind of get a wider view of things, because you have to slow the train down before you go into the positive. Now, step number 4 is just staying away until you can find a more positive emotion. So it's okay that you're in negative emotion. That's just fine. It's not that big of a deal that you're in a negative emotion. But you do want to slowly creep your way into maybe more neutral emotions. So maybe you'll get to a place where you're not playing the hands. You'll probably have to put in the blinds, and that's okay. But at least you're just kind of getting to a neutral place where you can be maybe a little bored and go, oh, that's interesting. You can view it from an outside point of view and just, view it as if you were a bystander. And then once you're in a neutral place, then you can start to think about more positive thoughts, and you can think about, I may actually be in a pretty good place now that I've backed up, and I feel a little bit of hope. I feel like I can probably do something here. Like maybe this is a new game for me now. That's when you can step back to the table. Now this works not just in poker, but in everyday life. So if you are, let's say, arguing with your spouse, stop, back away. Again, take the steps one by one. Number 1, step away. Number 2, gather your thoughts. Number 3, go general. And even, we can talk about even trying to think of things that really make you happy, your happy place, right? Mine is my daughter. I love thinking about my daughter. I love thinking about waterfalls and that kind of stuff. So that's a trick that I use for myself, also with the word relief. And then stay away until you feel like you're solidly in a really good mood, in a really good emotion. And this is true, like, let's talk about business too. If you're in a sales pitch, if you are trying to sell someone on this, if you're trying to help them out, when you get to a negative space, you know that you're headed down the wrong track and you've got to back up. So if you like in a sales space, maybe you back up and you say, look, I'm approaching this wrong, but I did have a question for you. I saw on Facebook that your daughter is a really amazing violinist. How long has she been learning violin? And so again, you back up and you try and find these little ways to help yourself feel just a little bit better. Go a little bit, go neutral, back out, and really, once you get to negative emotions, and if you get into major momentum in negative emotions, you are never going to sell anyone. It won't happen. But this is true with health too. Let's talk about health. I went through a long period of time where, I've been training for the Olympics, and I'm a discus thrower, and there's a lot of discus throwers that put on a lot of weight because at some level you need some weight to throw the discus. But I got really big because my weight became this fairly negative thing in my life, in general, food and weight. And at some point I had to back up and go a lot more general and feel better about me and my body before I could actually start moving forward again. And for me, it was more about realizing that I could do or have anything I wanted to. And so it just took maybe a little tiny bit of discipline and a lot of fun actually creating it, losing 100 pounds in 2 months. It became an easy and fun thing, a gamified thing for me, if you will. Because I was able to step back and I took these steps, step away, I gathered my thoughts, went more general, and then I didn't go back to it until I actually felt some real positive emotion. Really, if you can get to a place of feeling hope will get you a lot of the things that you want in your life. So now, I do have to say with all of this, if you find yourself in a negative emotion, never panic. It's okay. Like sometimes we just react to things without thinking about it, and it just we feel the wrong way, and we don't even mean to feel that way. And so we just have to change our thought. And I promise you, if you can get these 4 steps down, you will start to change a lot of things in your life. Because changing from a negative emotion to neutral and then to positive, making that movement and creating that skill in your life is life-changing. And honestly, I didn't consciously start to do that until really a few years ago. And, I guess it was 5 years ago or so, I was living with my wife and kids in a single wide trailer. And now I'm in this beautiful home. It's a $2 million home, just because I was able to change my emotions. It's a big deal. Changing emotions is everything. So, step 1, step away. Step 2, gather your thoughts. Step 3, go general. And step 4, stay away until you can create a solid positive emotion, especially if you're nearing hope. If you take these 4 steps, I promise you, you are going to change your life. It is a beautifully on purpose movement that you can make that will change just about everything that you're doing if you implement it in the different areas of your life with health, wealth, and relationships. I'm so glad you guys are on with me today. I'm having so much fun with this. This is really the first. Oh, whoo. You are going to change your. There we go. It's a little delayed. I'm going to be having so much fun with this. I'm going to be doing these shows a lot. I will actually be doing a full-on cooking show along with these shows as well. That is about health and how I lost 100 pounds in 2 months. So make sure to stay tuned. Also, I have an app. If you're interested, just message me and I will make sure you get this app. It's just an app where you check in with yourself a few times a day to see what your emotion is. And it gives you processes that help you move from the emotion you're at to the next more positive emotion. Because I really believe that changing those emotions is the most important thing you can do in any day of your life. Because the truth is, the only reason we want anything is because we think we'll feel better when we have it anyway. So might as well, right? Well, thank you for joining me today. I will actually be doing another show tomorrow because we have an ace in the hole poker game tomorrow, and I will be having some guests on the show. So, thank you for joining me. Make sure to not live your life on tilt. Live it on your own terms. Live it powerfully. Until next time, I'm Nate Drew. We'll see you tomorrow.